So basically, Spotify is making a pretty big change, and this is about their promotion. So they're adding a new feature where basically, if you select this feature as an artist, Spotify is going to help promote your music more. But there's a catch.
Of
And the
course.
catch is basically that you're going to get paid less money. So, right now, obviously, there are huge issues right now with the amount of money that artists are getting paid for streaming. Well, if you use this promotional feature, you're going to get even less money. So, Willie, do you think this is going to end up helping artists, or do you think it's just another way for Spotify to make more money?
Well, I'll start with it's hard to get a lot less of 4/10 of a cent, which I believe is somewhere in the range of the average click. Obviously, it varies. So, right off the bat, when we talk about less for the artist, I feel that that's sort of almost a non starter for some people, unless the idea is once again that, hey, Spotify says and you do. And it can be hard to say no to what Spotify puts out because they are such a behemoth in this market. I think that the reaction to a lot of this from a lot of people is going to bring up all the negative connotations that surround anything that even slightly resembles pay for play. Now, that's not completely fair because pay for play is advertising is pay for play. Pay for play exists around us all the time. Pay for play is when you go to a theme park, quite literally. But it needs to be above the board. That's how you stay away from things in terms like payola. Now, Spotify's as big as radio once was, I think. So you run that line. Now, Spotify has said what they're intending to do. So there's nothing here that's untowards about disclosure and what's going
Well,
on.
and just to be clear, the artist does not have to opt into this.
That's true. I think though for the artist, it's hard because A, they're going to get less money. So I think from the artist standpoint, that's not all that great. From the listener standpoint, if I've cultivated playlists, well, so now I'm going to have yet another part of the algorithm. Hey, as a listener, I thought the algorithm was based upon what I like to hear, Pete. I didn't think it was going to be based upon who's paying what that I don't know of. So it benefits Spotify, perhaps. I don't know, but I don't see the benefit for the listener, and I certainly don't see the benefit for the artist. What do you see about this? Like, can
At
this
the end of the day,
possibly
Willie, I
help the
think this is the
artist?
way that Spotify is going to get more money into their own pockets. Now, will this work for a few artists? Maybe. Yeah, I think it probably will. But for the majority of artists, they're probably just going to lose out on more money. Because if think about this, if you had over 50% of the artists on Spotify opting in, think about how many
Right.
artists they're competing against to get that extra promotion. I mean, how much extra promotion can you really get if everybody else is doing it?
If everyone else is doing it, you're right back to square zero.
Yeah, so I think it makes it really difficult for the artists. And I think you're going to end up with a situation where you're going to have a few artists that benefit, but just like everything else, then you're going to have everybody else on the side who really isn't getting a whole lot of benefit out of it. And streaming rates are already really bad for artists, and it's just going to get worse. So yeah, I think it's good for Spotify, but
Right.
not really good for the consumer because if they're getting led to stuff that they're not necessarily interested in, and not really great for the artist either because again, they're already making very little off Spotify. Majority of artists are not making
Right.
anything off Spotify, and then they're going to be making even less. So yeah, I think it's kind of not really a win-win here. I think maybe for Spotify, it's going to help them. And again, the reason why they're doing it is because they probably see this as an avenue to make more money. And it's really the artists and the consumers who are going to suffer from this.
And I think I want to make clear from my perspective, I don't have a problem with businesses making money.
Yeah.
That is their desire to make money. They have no qualms about saying it. There's nothing wrong with that. But in a world that we would like to think of has some sort of parity, maybe a bit of fairness, you would hope that that business making their gazillions of dollars helps to bring a couple ships along with them. And the idea is if Spotify's making more money, if artists are making more money and consumers are getting a better experience, then win-win-win is a win. And
Yeah.
I think that's great. Then, hey, make as much money as you can. This seems a little bit underhanded because just on our brief discussion, it seems like, yeah, Spotify might win. Artists, by definition of what they're going to do, they will get less, at least at the outset. And the listener's algorithm is diluted because now we have to decide who's getting the most pay in and who's going to get those ears. And it's not going to be up to the listeners either. I think Spotify will come to regret this. I think it's a bad look for them.
Yeah, right now you already have that huge discrepancy on Spotify in terms of these are the artists who actually make money on
Right.
Spotify, and then everybody else doesn't make money on Spotify. I mean, even artists who are getting millions and millions of streams, a lot of them aren't making a whole lot of money. I
They're
mean, a
not
lot of them
correct.
are making less than minimum wage basically
Right.
on Spotify. And this new feature seems like that's going to make the discrepancy even worse, honestly.
I agree, Pete.